Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Quirky Dorks podcast. Today is Saturday, November 20th, 2021, and I'm here finally again with Fiel Wilson. Welcome back, my guy. Hi.
What's going on with you?
It feels good to be recording with you again, man. It's
Yeah,
been I think
hello.
3 or 4 months since we've recorded.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
I guess you can
Um,
call this season two.
you can call it what?
I guess you can call this season two.
Yeah, it's like a second seed. We honestly, you prepared to do seasons? They could do like big seasons.
Yeah,
Do a
yeah,
podcast, do a stream, come back. I
yeah,
don't
we
know.
could.
We needed a break. It got really busy for both of us for a little
Yeah,
bit. And we decided to hold and take a little leave for us to get our things in order and see what we wanted to do for the podcast. Um, Phil, what have you been doing occupying your time in the 4 months that we've been gone?
man, let's see. So since we've been away, I've been working and applying to colleges, getting ready for college, and getting ready for swim season to start pretty soon.
Hell yeah, both of
Yeah,
us got that started now. I finally have a season this year at our school. Um, you know, I'm ready for that. Also applying to college is
yeah.
fun.
How is the season going so far, by the way?
Swim season, it is killing me. I am 2 years of quarantine out of shape. I'm not overweight, but I've stayed the same, but my body is not ready for that kind of cardio.
I feel you.
Fam, the
I'm
first day, when do you? I started my first day like 2 weeks ago, and our school started a swim club to get people to recruit for our boys swim team. Um, the first day we have a new coach too. The old coach left, so that's already different to start off this year. The first day we're like, okay, to get us started, we're gonna do 250s, and which is two laps. That's there and back for people who don't know swimming lengths. We're gonna swim 250s to get us warmed up, and then we'll get into the regular swimming routine. I'm like, okay, nice. I gassed it. Like I jump off the block on the pool. I have a clean dive. I'm like, man, I am killing it already. I didn't lose anything I had. I make it to the end of the pool. I swim halfway on the first 50. I'm like,
Dude, it's that is like just like me because I was like 2 years off before I went back to swimming. And when I got back to swimming, I finally got back in the pool and I was like swimming again. I don't know why, but it was like I forgot how to breathe and stuff. Like, it was just so embarrassing. And they had me practicing with varsity and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm there yet. I think you should move me down.
got humbled real quick. I
Yeah.
was, I'm thinking, I was thinking because I'm the oldest swimmer there.
hmm
So recently, but this is a little after. I'm team captain for the boys swim team. We start our first practice this upcoming week. But prior to that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm senior. I've swam before. I'm gonna be able to crush this. Like arrogant as shit. I'm like, I got this. Took one. I got halfway through. Got to the end of the pool, and the coach is like, "Why'd you stop?" I'm like, "Because I'm gonna drown. If I go another lap, I'm gonna cramp and like drown."
Oh
There,
my god.
my body is telling me there's physically no more laps that can be done.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that totally. It's weird because now, like, I'm getting back into swimming. And when I got back into swimming, I felt good. Like for the first season, I really did feel like I progressed, and then I did water polo just to stay in shape and stay in the water.
Hmm.
And once water polo ended, I became a lifeguard. And honestly, that helped with me staying in shape. Oddly enough, it did actually help me staying in shape and I did swim club over the summer, and so like honestly, I've just been in the pool, 24/7, trying to make sure I'm constantly getting better,
Hmm.
and so that's been good. But for the past few months, I haven't been in the pool. but I have been, just in the gym, um, training my body, training my mind, everything like that. So that feels good. Honestly, I have some big plans for the upcoming season. I swim like three events are like my main events that I swim, and I think I really want to try the 200 IM.
Whew, rough. But I commend you for it, which good big goals.
Yeah, I mean the 200 IM honestly is rough for me because I suck at butterfly. So like I suck so bad at butterfly where it's like I can do a 25 and I'll be cool. Then once I'm coming back, it's not. I'm not even doing butterfly at that point. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's so draining, and I think butterfly is like the last stroke that people work on. Because it's like no one really swims the events, and very few people main like swimming butterfly heats.
Yeah, and it's weird because like I give props. Like I have a few friends, right, who they're really good at butterfly, and I'd be like, man, I give props to y'all. You know what I'm saying, for being able to swim like a 200 butterfly and still be cool after you get out the pool. Because after I get out the pool swimming even a 50, I'm done. And then they'll be like basically say the same thing to me. Oh man, well I give props to you because I can't do breaststroke. I'm like, how? Like that's like the easiest one for me.
It's like it's a team. You all play off of each other and of each other's
Hmm.
strengths, and I think that's what kind of make it's a team sport and an individual sport at the same time.
Yeah,
I think that
definitely.
it's very unique for that. Um, I know for this year like I'm not prepared for that pain. And it's not even there's a certain pain. It's not like lifting weights where you're physically sore. It's like, my chest is sore from like lifting weights, which is it's still painful, but it's different than like I just did cardio, like intense cardio pain, where your chest is hurting and it's pounding. You're like,
Yeah,
and I
like
feel
when
like the
you
more
have
air you breathe in, the less you can't breathe. It's
yeah. When you like really train, and it's like imagine training for state or sectionals or something like that, like when you really truly train your body, like you get out of the pool and you are like physically just drained and like you just want to go home, eat, and just go straight to sleep. And it's like honestly, it's even rough. It's even harder when like you're a student, and then you know that you can't do that because now you have to go ahead and study or do homework or something like that.
yeah,
But like man, like that is not the hardest part of swimming itself. Is just the physical drain that it takes on your body, and then honestly, it's also just a mental sport too. Because as much as you want to just say, okay, yeah, I'm done after swimming, I'm done. I can just go to sleep. It's like no, you still have more things to do. But it's like literally your body is like telling you to just stop, and and you just have to sit up here and just have to push through it, and you have to get things done. You
yeah.
know.
Like I think it's part of the mental thing too that is what I kind of missed about it because you needed you forces you to have that routine of you have to do it. Like I've swimming one heat. I think last year I would swim like 3 or 4 heats because we had a really small swim team. We didn't have enough people to fill in the roster to swim events. And if you're swimming like after the second heat, your body is done. After like the second or third heat, you're like it's not
Oh,
even
dude.
like that you can't breathe. Like you can take a breath and like relax a little bit, but you're tired. It's kind of like you worked a long shift. It's that kind of like slow wear tired that you feel afterward. Um
Especially if you just get no break in between. Like I remember my last swim season I had an asthma attack and the reason was because my coach put me in the 100 breast, right? And I did so good in the 100 breast. I like shaved 3 seconds off my time. And I mean, if you don't know swimming, shaving even 1 second, that's a huge deal, honestly. So I shaved 3 seconds off my time, and then I had to step right back onto the block to do a 100 free.
nice.
I was done with the 100 breast, and then she says, "No, get up. You doing a 100 free?" What? I'm like, Coach, I can't. And she like, well, you got to, so get up there. And so I get up there, I'm swimming the 100 free. The 50, I'm cool, you know what I'm saying? I'm swimming as fast as I possibly can.
Mhm.
I come back for the second 50, I'm like, yep, I'm done. I'm done. Like I usually try to, not to breathe at the flags, stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
was breathing every stroke, breathing at the flags. My flip turn was horrible. Like I remember one, I didn't even do a flip turn. I just like I don't even know what it was. It was like I flipped, but then I was still facing the wall. It was horrible. And I looked up and I see my coach and looking at me like, "What?" And I was like, "This is your fault. No, not mine. This is your fault." And then I got at the wall and I could barely get out the pool. And by the way, this is a relay race, so I have to get out the pool. So then, the next person can
Mm-hmm.
finish at the wall. I can barely get out the pool. My teammates, are essentially like basically pulling me out the water. And I'm sitting up here having like a mini asthma attack. I'm just done.
Man, not not
Not
good.
fun.
Wait, you got thrown. That's the worst when like your team can't do it or a teammate like gets a sprain. It's like, well, no one could swim this heat. Shane, you're up. Swim this event. It's right after the one
Yeah.
you did. Wait, what? I just swam 100. Well, you got to do another 50. So get on the block.
Yeah, because the guy that was supposed to swim the heat, he just could not do it because he had just got done swimming the 500. So
Ooh, yeah.
I totally understand that. Like I can swim a 500, maybe just in the gym practicing, maybe just training. I can swim 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Just
Mm-hmm.
chilling. Real slow. But this guy is like literally having to like I'm not gonna say sprint because obviously you're not
Yeah.
gonna sprint. You're Katie Ledecky, but anyway, you can't sprint. Doing a 500, and so but he's like going pretty fast at a pretty fast pace for a swimmer that's doing a 500.
Yeah.
And so after he's done with that, and I get done with the 100 breast, he's still like, yeah, no, I'm done. My body is just physically drained. He like can barely stand up. He's like, no, and my coach was like, okay, well, I don't think it's safe for you to swim the 100 free. And I'm like, well, I just got done swimming the 100 breast. You think it's safe for me to swim the 100 free? I'm like, there are like three other guys on the team that don't have any more heats, that don't have any more events. Like they can swim this. And I was like, and then she's like, oh well, you can do it. I'm like, no, I can't. I can't. Believe in yourself. No, I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I want to.
I'm curious to see what events they'll have me swim this year. I
What?
wanted to
Oh,
aim to do long distance this year, but where I'm at now, and because I'm like this much out of a season, like I'm still somewhat in shape, but in order to get ready by early December, like early to mid December, to be able to swim a 500 for events, I don't think it's happening.
yeah.
Um, I'm being realistic. Not that I can't. I definitely can get up to that point. It's just that's that's a lot. Um, I don't think we have practice that much. How often do you practice? Because our schedule is we have it Tuesdays through Thursdays every week, which sounds exhausting. It was different last year than it is this year.
Yeah, we practice Monday through Saturday
Whew.
for hours, each day after school.
All right, I'm not gonna complain anymore. I'm gonna get. Now I gotta pad out the rest of those days with like some cardio or something. Now, I can't be up here and complain about that. And then you say you do Mondays through Saturdays. You're grinding.
Yeah, honestly, no, honestly, it's weird. Well, yeah, technically it is Monday through Saturday because even when we're not practicing, we still have meets or
Mm.
whatever. Yeah, on those days. And
Oh
we
right, that
have,
doesn't account for meets either. Yeah.
yeah, so honestly, we're even like during the meets, we're swimming at least maybe one or two meets a week. You know,
Yeah.
so, like yeah, honestly, we're grinding. And but I mean, I think it's a good thing because me coming back into swimming, me coming back into it, I was swimming like a 45, maybe I want to say for like a 50,
Mhm.
which is horrible. 45 or 50 is horrible, and I was able to get that down to a 40, and then to a 35, then to a 32, and now to a 26, is what I'm trying to get down to. So, and I'm pretty sure I can make the 26. I'm honestly not worried about that.
Yeah.
But I feel like just practicing that much and having those meets and swimming, it hurt, but it honestly it gave me more confidence within myself because a lot of times like my coach would be like, okay, yeah, you need to stop. Like she'd be like, okay, we're gonna do 4 100s,
Mm-hmm.
and I was falling behind, and then she's like, okay, yeah, take a break and sit this 100 out, and I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna keep going because that's how motivated I was to getting better. And if you a lot of swimmers, if you're a swimmer who is really dedicated, really motivated to getting better into this sport, it's like that's what it takes. It takes 24/7 grinding, even when you don't have even when you don't have practice, you're finding some way to, work out, getting
Get
into the gym, and stuff
getting up
like
at
that.
3 a.m. every day, grinding. No, I'm kidding. I'm
But
sorry. I
honestly,
started laughing because I just thought about the last one we did talking about sigmas, and just
oh my god,
and just those people who like are like workaholics. I think I want
yeah,
to emphasize too. There's a fine line between pushing yourself and overworking yourself.
yeah. Honestly, you want to go to your limits. You don't want to exhaust yourself, especially if you're a student. If you're a student, especially if you're a high school student, or if you're a senior, or a junior, even upperclassman, period. Those are two in high school, college, whatever. You want to make sure your body is and your mind is okay because you don't want to exhaust yourself. You know, you want to make sure that you are physically okay. And so like if honestly, if it takes skipping some practices, or, missing out on a few meets, to recover, then it takes that. It's like you're not gonna you're not gonna lose all the work that you put in just from missing a few practices or just from missing a few meets. Like take time for yourself. you
Yes.
know
Which honestly,
which
in
is
high school, I don't think very few people can balance your mental health, physical health, and everything.
definitely
Just if you
definitely
can pick one
and
to keep
you
to keep 100%, or at least not 100%, but at least a good 80, 80 or 90, you're good.
yeah, can you like balance, like not even just with all the things that you have going on within school, swimming, and everything else that you have extracurricular. Can you are you able to balance your mental health and your physical health?
Oh, are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Oh, like that was a stupid question. Like, who else are you asking? I should have said if that's that a rhetorical question. Um, no, I think I'm feel like I'm pretty terrible at balancing things. It's either I do everything at one time or nothing at all. Like I'll go through long stretches of being physically and mentally active, of like writing stuff in a journal or a log, and like getting up and working out and keeping a solid schedule, and then I'll go through long moments of like not doing anything. Well, no, I shouldn't say not doing anything because I feel like that's invalidating stuff that I do. But like slacking, like not working out or not taking taking mental like healthcare days, and just trying to do stuff for school or focus on doing stuff for other people, and not um, taking the time to really like get in tune with yourself and do things that make you feel good, that you enjoy, not that what other people say that you should enjoy. Um, I feel like balancing those two, at least with senior year, I feel like I'm a lot. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic and the lack of social interaction, but I feel like I'm very hyper aware of what other people want me to do, and I feel like that's dictated like what things that I'm doing now. Not as much. I'm trying to move out of that, but I don't know. I feel like yeah, I just got to get better at balancing. But it's a process. Like I may have cut it out to be cut and dry. Like I just have one or the other. But it's kind of like an everyday thing. It's like small little things that pile up, and over time you kind of see a pattern. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like I'm honestly the same way. Like me, like I suck at balancing time and everything. Like I put way too much pressure on myself. Like I be doing like 5 different things. At the same time, I'm swimming, doing school. And then I'm studying. And it's like, Theo, you need to calm down. I'm like, no, I want to be the best. I need to be the best. So, like, honestly, I always have that mindset,
Mhm.
where, oh, I want to be the best, and now, I'm coming into this different stage of my life where, I'm entering college pretty soon, and, me wanting to potentially swim in college, or, me just, you know, interested in going into medicine, it takes a lot of work, and then, so now I have that mindset where it's like, and I really am trying to get out of that mindset because I've always been like that, and now it truly is unhealthy for me.
Mhm.
But now I have that mindset where it's like work, work, work. I come home, I study, I go to the gym, and I work out. Once I come home from the gym, I'm studying again, I'm writing papers, and I'm doing everything. And it's like, Theo, calm down. I'm sitting up here applying for jobs, stuff like that. It's like, like, yeah, if you and all my other friends and family tell me like, Theo, calm down, like you'll have time.
I
Just
think it
take a
takes, yeah, it takes that level of self reflection to be like, do I need to have all of this on my schedule? Because I'll give you
yeah,
an example of. I thought about it as you were saying that. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. This past weekend, we had like a 4 day weekend because we had it was like report cards. It was like our first quarter term, and then we had like an off day for people to get vaccinated. That's like what the broad like upper management of our school district did. We had like a day for students, younger students, to go get vaccinated. So they just made it an open day. That day, that prior Wednesday, I planned, okay, I'm gonna get all of this done this 4 day weekend. I'm gonna sit down and edit promotional stuff for the podcast. I'm gonna record a video. I'm gonna play gigs with my band. I'm gonna practice with them. I'm going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to talk to my family. I'm going to make sure that I call everybody. I'm going to make sure that I get this business idea that I want to get done for cookies. I'm going to get all that stuff done. And then I'm like, by the time the weekend comes, because I've already set the bar so high and I've been doing work throughout the week already, by the time the weekend comes, I'm like, okay, I have 4 days. I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, I'm like, oh, I have 2 more days. I'll do it tomorrow. And then
yeah, you
by
get
that time, it's Sunday and I've done nothing. And then I
yeah,
have this whole huge laundry list of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I have all this stuff to do. And then that's when panic mode kicks in of trying to do all of it in one day. And then it's really, that's what I'm talking about, of not balancing stuff and then doing everything at one time. It's not good. Um,
yeah,
like what would have been a good idea is picking one thing to do this weekend and then setting a timer for an hour and then like let me just give myself an hour to dedicate to this. Turn off my phone. It's like there's things like that that I know that I can do and I know that does work that I try and I need to apply myself and not make a laundry list of stuff that I expect myself to do that I know isn't a realistic set of goals for me to do.
and honestly, doing that is honestly better for you because you're able to spend more time on one thing, other than, having to just multitask, when you really don't have to, you can spend more time and dedicate more time and focus on, whatever it is, homework or, just working out or studying, whatever it is, you spend more time doing it. And the saying is like, do you want to be the best at one thing, or do you want to be like a participant in, everything? Something like that. But it's kind of like that, whatever you're like most passionate about, it's like that's what you need to be spending your time with. Don't don't over exhaust yourself with things that it's not really important, things that's not gonna, bring you happiness in the long run. Especially in, I think that's something also that we all need to, think about, because when we set these high, standards for ourselves, oh, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then when we don't do that, then we beat ourselves up, over it because we're like, oh, because I didn't, accomplish this, and then
Mm-hmm.
also, with the social media, we're always comparing ourselves to somebody. You see The Rock,
It's
and
all
you
about
like,
drive. It's all about power.
yeah, you see The Rock, and, he's, creating, while he's got a liquor business, he's creating movies, he's rapping, he's working out, and then it's like, okay, well, now I need to be doing everything that he's doing, or in some shape. All this. he's able to do all this and still is in the same, it still is in the right, mental space, and we compare ourselves to people like that, which is not healthy. We compare ourselves to people like that, and we're like, oh, well, he's able to do all that, so should I. Don't do that. We're all different. We all have different, different mindsets and everything.
Yes.
If you can't
Also,
do,
sorry. Also, I was gonna say to that, I feel like there's so much of the expectation. Like, have you ever gotten those like YouTube ads where it's like, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, what are you doing? You can be making $1,000 every day, like those kinds of videos.
yeah,
You've gotten ads for that. I feel like there's
yeah,
this weird drive of this exclusion of being average. I don't know if I want to use. I'm gonna use that word, and then if I think of a better word, I'll replace it. But this exclusion of being average isn't okay. Like that, you should be the best, or you should try to be the most popular person, the most successful. Like you shouldn't be doing average things, or you don't want to do like an average everything thing. Even though to some people those things can be fulfilling. Or you don't have to. I think there's this a misconception that you need to commit to those kinds of things for forever. Like if I go to this college and do this, get this degree, I need to do in that profession or career, and I need to stick with that forever. And
yeah,
that's not true. You
yeah.
can.
Society. What are you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say like that. Like you can move around and like flow with like what you want to do at a given time. There's nothing set in stone.
Yeah, we have these expectations, on us, and within society where it's like, oh, you need to have this job by this age, and you need to be married by this age, have kids by this age, you need to be making this amount of money by this age, and it's like if you're not doing that, then you're not living up to, I guess you say, the American standards or whatever, and it's stupid. Honestly, I would say just go into what you're passionate, about. Do what you're passionate about, no matter what it is. Honestly, doing whatever it is, whether it's art or you want to go into medicine or engineering, it's going to take hard work, and it's different, obviously hard work is different for everybody, but it's going to take hard work. It's not, just an easy road. If you want to be a doctor, it's going to take you, freaking 15, 16 years, to do that. If you want to become an artist and, you want to become a musician or whatever, you're not gonna, become famous overnight. You're not gonna,
I think
selling.
it ranges. I think that's different of what I think that's what I was. Cause I kind of not what I necessarily meant, but you could be like, here's an example. Like Charlie D'Amelio, they blew up on TikTok for dancing overnight. Like they're 16. Like some people, like I feel like prior to now, it would have taken like a few years of working at a craft in order to be that successful.
But then
And with
again,
the platform, you could do it overnight now.
but with them, it wasn't overnight. I know it seems like it was overnight, but they had been dancing since, she had been dancing since she was younger. Doing dance competitions and everything. Posting on social media for years, and it wasn't until the pandemic hit where people were watching TikTok more and watch on social media more until she finally got that I guess you say that level of fame that she expected to get. I don't think it was actually an overnight thing. It did take years because I mean I definitely was the same way. I with her and a lot of other people, it's like, oh, they achieve fame overnight, but it seems like that. But honestly, it's a misconception. You know.
Um, let me give another example. I get what you're saying, but I feel like um with Charlie D'Amelio specifically, she has over 100 million followers on TikTok. PewDiePie is another like recent, not recent at all. Like he's been around for probably like 15 years. Yeah. Like he's been around for a little bit, and he is just a little over 100 million subs. But I know TikTok and YouTube are two different beast in itself. But I'm saying it took years of him posting in order to get to that point. And over a course of I think 6 months, Charlie D'Amelio went from a few thousand to millions of followers. And I think prior to recently, it would have taken people a lot longer. I feel like there's a lot now currently. You can be famous very quickly at a younger age than what you could prior to. And because of that, I feel like that forces a lot of younger people our age to feel like, well, if they're my age and I'm not there, then why am I not there? And that's when it gets into that relationship of looking at other people online and thinking, well, I'm not good enough, or I need to be farther, or I need to be the best or more famous than what I am right now. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean with that? Because like it's quicker to do it.
I definitely understand what you're saying by that. Like, especially with TikTok and everything, you have all these young people who Charlie D'Amelio is younger than me. She's 17, I'm 18. She's young. She's our age. Basically. Yeah, and she's reached this level of stardom. She has her own Dunkin' Donuts coffee and stuff like that.
Which
And
also, sorry to catch. I'm sorry, but um, with that though too, I also think. Imagine we're both. You just turned 18. But I'm still 17. Like, just think back to like even now, like both of us our age now. Thinking be having 100 million eyes looking at what you post every day, what you
yeah,
do at 17 now, and
yeah,
having sponsor deals that you don't really have any idea of how to control it or manage it at all, and you have all these adults for kind of twisting your arm into signing these contract deals, and you're on everywhere, you're getting all these brand deals with stuff I feel like they have some input in, but I highly doubt that. I feel like it's more parents and management that's taking over what they're
yeah,
choosing to do right now. And it makes me question if they're happy doing what they're doing and if it's what they want to be doing. Like, do they want to
yeah,
be doing this, or if is it making their family money? It gets into
yeah.
that too. Like, what's the grass is always greener.
Yeah, that's a big thing because I mean, a lot of people are like that. I mean, being this young and having this level of fame and stardom and stuff like that, honestly, a lot of us, I'm pretty sure, they don't know, half the stuff, when it comes to talking about money and stuff like that, and promotionships and having to sign all this. A lot of times it is like that, So again, it comes back to me saying, like, I feel like we don't really understand the level of what's the word, the level of work that they have to put in, you know what I'm saying? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we all have to go through our different our own different battles and challenges, and I feel like people like Charlie D'Amelio, even though on the outside and on social media, it looks like she has this perfect life, but and of course we don't know, but I'm pretty sure she also has to fight her own demons and has to battle her own things like that, and it's like we see what I guess you say she wants us to see, or honestly what her people wants us to see of her,
Mm-hmm.
and social media became like really really big in 2020 when the pandemic hit, and everybody started comparing themselves to people on TikTok, people like Charlie D'Amelio and Addison Rae, it was like, oh well, she's my age, oh, I'm older than her, and she's she's more famous than me, blah blah blah, and then when they try to do it and they don't, succeed, then they put that same amount of pressure on themselves. But it comes back to the thing I was saying before. We all are different. Is there's something there's something that she may have done, what I'm saying, that got her to where she is now, and now it's because because you're not at that same spot she is. Now you're beating yourself up about it. It's like that's how I guess you say the world is today, really.
Um, yeah. I think more people are hyper focused on at least. How about this? I feel like I'm wandering a little bit, but so overall, like round, I feel like more people have been inundated with social media because, like you said, because of the pandemic and ever. And I give that as an like I feel like people are more glued to technology now than ever before, especially because of that. Like going to school now, There used to be like three or two kids who would like have their phones out in school, listen to music, and now everyone does it. And now
Yes,
I've seen teachers on their phones now, like scrolling through mid class, and that you didn't see that before, and now you do. Maybe you did. I'm just speaking like
I
at my
definitely do.
school, but do you know what I mean? It's such a
Yeah,
weird flash of that now, where everyone's
yeah, that's another question I have because I was actually talking with my dad about this. How big social media and how big technology is today with all the new Apple products and every Samsung and Google, everything has been blowing up over the past few years. Especially social media and technology. How do you think that technology is going to affect us, let's say 10, 20 years down the line? How do you think social media and technology is going to affect the world? Do you think it's going to have a positive or negative effect on the world 10, 20 years down the line?
this is gonna be a messed up comparison, but I'm gonna compare it to like having an addiction to like a food addiction or like or like alcohol, where it's
Yeah,
like if you're having a shit day, ah well fuck it, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna get a slice of cake. But it also
yeah,
works in the opposite direction where it's like, oh I got the job interview I wanted to, I got an interview for this job and I got the job, I'm gonna get some cake and I'm gonna get a drink. Or it's like, you know what I mean? It works in both ways to reward yourself for that. And I feel like social media is that where I think there's a lot of positive to it. I just think it's not being used the right way and big um I don't want to sound like hippy dippy when I say this, but like big corporations who dictate what people are inundated with through social media has people glued in, and it's focused on negative things and it's used for wrong. Like it's used for the wrong purpose. Like how many times will you wake up in the morning and like open your phone and they're like, ah, fuck, and then you look down and see like they're closing 500 Wendy's stores. Damn it, I love Wendy's, and then that ruins like you're fixated on that. Or it's like, oh, this politician tweeted this. Fuck's sake, and then it ruins. It kills the rest of the day. Like you shouldn't be hit with that in the beginning of the morning every day. Like people have access to that kind of negative stimulation 24/7. And what's even worse, you have platforms where people can voice their opinions about those negative situations and ideas, and you can see other people react to that. Uh,
yeah. And honestly, it's like I'm pretty sure you ask, anybody, what's the first thing you do when you wake up? Oh, I'm gonna check my phone. I'm gonna, for a lot of, I guess you say Gen Zers, I guess, I'm gonna check social media. Me, I'm a little weird that way. I'm not checking social media. I'm checking my emails. But anyway, it's
you
like,
have to put that in there. I'm not checking social media in the morning, but
yeah, I just want to,
everybody else.
yeah, I'm not like that. I don't really. Honestly, I don't really check social media and stuff like that. I actually tried to limit because when the pandemic was running wild, and really it still is, but in 2020, I guess you would say. I was checking social media and I was on social media like 24/7, so now lately I've kind of been trying to limit myself to, my social media, habits and stuff like that, and I'm not really on, Snapchat, much, and I'm not really on Instagram much, stuff like that. I'm not really, watching TikTok, like that, and Twitter and Facebook, whatever. I'm not really, like that, It's like I was really addicted to social media back in 2020, and I really am trying to limit myself. But in a way, I'm gonna say, I feel like I may get some backlash on this. I feel like in a way, social media has been very rewarding, um, and technology has actually been very rewarding, um, in a sense, in the past few years, and I feel like a lot of the bad that it actually has been doing to society and the bad that I feel like it will do to society, it um the more that it grows, social media and technology. I also feel like there's a lot of good that can be brought of it.
Oh yeah, like I think it provides a to bring it back to the original question. I think long term I have no idea what that looks like for at least our generation, like Gen Z. I don't know what that looks like long term. Either it works like this, where I think we're all connected now, and then there's some other form of technology that replaces social media, and then we become the next boomers and are like alienated from the younger generation, or technology keeps us inundated and we kind of keep our youth in a way and are always inundated with what's going on and the new, and that keeps us always being able, okay, well, let's look at that and see how we can change that. I think already, I feel like a lot of younger people, I want to speak as a majority, not for what is, I feel like negative views on younger people is spread more than the positive. I feel like across the board, I feel like younger people are more inundated and aware of what's going on, and that's good for us to make change.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in terms of
Um.
like mental health and how a lot of younger people now are anxious and have depression and those kinds of things, but we're able to talk. It's that thing. I feel like a lot more people, I feel like, at least are either diagnosed or more people have mental illness now that are younger or are able to talk about it, which is good that we're able to talk about it and fix those things and we're able to do more research toward it. But is it that we're talking about it more and we're just realizing that more people have it, or is it social media that's generating more people with these kinds of problems like anxiety or depression or
Yeah, definitely.
ADHD? Are these things
Honestly,
stemmed from that? Because I don't know. I don't know what the long term impact of that to us will be.
yeah. Honestly, I feel like it's both because in a way, it's like in a way, like on the negative side first, as like you have all these people comparing themselves to people on social media, and all the things that you see on social media can cause, it can lead you to having all these mental health effects. But then you also have the good where it's like, oh, but it's bringing light to suicide prevention and stuff like that. It's bringing light to a lot of the things that's happening in this country. So honestly, it's kind of both. It's like I said originally, it's a lot of good, but it's also a lot of bad. It's like I feel like in a way, if there wasn't so much social media, in a way there probably would be less I guess you say mental health crisis, you know,
I think
run
people wouldn't be as inundated with negativity that would make their day unpleasant. I
yeah.
feel like
But
that would be a good general thing to say. I don't know. We are not scientists.
yeah,
I'm making a generalization that my hypothesis, my prediction is that I think social media is generally good, but I think because you're inundated with that and you get it, that we gotta find some buffer between. There needs to be a I don't want to say filter because then I think that'll get into censorship. I'm not saying censorship, but maybe like some sort of class or is taught where you're able to learn how to filter between, you have discernment of like what you choose to have in your feeds. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like if I some people, like I could choose right now to follow nothing but like inspirational motivation like Instagram posts or like people that inspire me and I look up to, that I just generally take advice from, or I could just have nothing but angry political rants or like disasters that happen around the world and I could just see that every day. It's like I think there needs to be a good balance between those two things in your consumption of social media, and also just like watching like fun shit too. Like people, I feel like most people go on the internet for entertainment. Um,
yeah.
Sadly, politics has become entertainment.
Oddly enough, politics has become entertainment. Then again, to what you were saying, I feel I feel I feel like in a way, I don't think we're really ever gonna be able to escape. the level of social media we're in right now, I feel like honestly it's gonna grow, and I feel like the only thing that we can do is just try to make it better.
Yes.
But then when it comes to the mental health, I feel like honestly a lot of our generation suffers from mental health through, I mean, just outside of social media itself. I feel like a lot of our generation suffers from mental health because of the things that's going on in the world, and a lot of, I guess you say, the older generations doesn't realize how much it affects us,
Yeah.
and realize that it is affecting us, but we're the only ones that's like, oh, it is affecting us, but you're not understanding that you don't realize that it's affecting me, especially like, I guess you say, minorities, and stuff like that,
Mhm.
when when with all the police brutality stuff like that is going on in the world, it is affecting us, and I feel like older generations doesn't realize that it is affecting us, the way it's affecting us. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's another big reason why a lot of people suffer from a lot of mental health, and it's weird because in a way it's been taken more serious. Oh, it's starting to be taken more serious. Like right
Mhm.
now, like on my school ID, on the back of it, it has the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number, on it, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't think we could have ever, said that, they would have, decided to provide more social work in schools and, make it more, um, make, therapy, counseling, and social work more available for students. So in a way, I feel like it actually is being taken more serious. How do you think it's the same for you or no?
Do you think I think it is taken more seriously in terms of public access to information regarding it? Like at my school, there's so many more clubs and everything for talking about mental illness or just inclusiveness in general, like for LGBT clubs or like civil rights, like stuff like that. I think it's more accessible now than it was before. Um, in terms of, is it? Wait, can you repeat the question? Are you saying if it's? Do you think more people are have access? Like, I'm sorry.
The question is like, I think what I'm trying to say is, do you think that it's being taken more serious? Um,
Across
like
the board, yeah, but I feel
yeah,
like because you know what, whatever. I feel like podcast. I like having the podcast where we're able to talk about different things and being able to share opinions. Um, I feel like with this, with people being able to see mental health too and having access to the internet, it's very easy and quick to self-diagnose yourself without getting professional help. Um, I feel like
then
there's a good amount of I feel like a majority across the board people who are diagnosed do have those issues, but also like you can just Google stuff too, like, oh, what do I have these problems, and if you see these symptoms, like, oh my god, I have this, and it's like, well, you might, but also look at get professional help too. um
yeah, but I don't think I agree in a sense, but I don't think it takes. I feel like what you're feeling, and
Well,
if you're
okay, let me rephrase. I don't want to invalidate what people, because I feel like it comes across as me like, well, these kids, they're just saying they have depression when they're just like, just go to school and work and you'll be fine. Like, no, just rub it off. It's all in your head. That's not what I'm
yeah,
saying. That's like, that's some black. I
that's
gotta cut
that's
that out. Wait, hold on.
that's it.
I wasn't gonna say it's black people shit, but we are. I'm not saying it's black people shit, but black people do it.
Yeah, that's the household. Not even just black people, but I feel like just minorities and
Oh yeah,
uh,
like that nigga crazy.
yeah,
It's either
like
he
when you
crazy or he ain't crazy.
yeah, like you see a people, you be like, oh yeah, mom, I'm depressed. You be like, what do you have to be depressed about? I mean, you go home, you go to school, you get an education, you swim, you have a roof over your head, You have food on your food on the table every night. You have loving parents. It's like, and then when they were like, oh, but when I was a child, I had to go through this and I had to go through that. It goes to comparing yourself, like we were just saying. It's like, oh, well, they had to go through this. I'm not going through this. There's different levels of depression, and everything. And with immigration, with parents who come from different countries,
Mm-hmm.
and immigrants, stuff like that. It's like, what do you have to be depressed about? Oh, I had to, sacrifice everything though to come to America or whatever, But you have the opportunity to make a life for yourself. I didn't have that opportunity, and it's like it comes back to just comparing yourself. It's like, oh well, I'm not going through the same things my parents are going through, so I guess my issues aren't valid. I guess my issues aren't really important, And I feel like the next step into this whole process of making changes, realizing that we can all suffer from mental health in a different way, And we don't, just because we didn't go through the levels of trauma or suffering that our parents had to go through, doesn't mean that our feelings are invalid,
Yeah.
And I feel like it takes us realizing that, and it takes us the first step being able to say, like, maybe, my parents don't have, maybe my parents aren't the best person to really go to talk to about, things like that,
Mm-hmm. And
Because,
also, I think you highlight a good fact. I think of talking the different levels of that kind of like depression, because it is different for different people. Like you said, you gave the example of people who immigrate who have, well, I sacrifice everything to be in the position where I'm at. Yes, and if you have that's validated. You have every right to, if you think that, well, if you know, because that person experienced those things, to be depressed from where they came from and to be able to come up, they're like, well, I have a reason to be depressed. Well, yeah, well, that's valid, but also, there's other varying degrees of that too. I think when we get into the thing of, well, you don't have a reason to, well, that's where it gets into the privileged idea. Well, people in first world countries shouldn't, which
yeah,
that's a slippery slope for me. Like I agree to some to some level. I I think we gotta do this in chunks of how we fix this, and I think in first world countries of handling mental health issues, there's a fine
yeah,
line of realizing the issues that we do have, and then not realizing the privileges of being thankful for what we do have. Like there's
um,
resources that we, even if you are bottom of the barrel American, like minority, like you, let's say you have all odds are against you. You're poor, you're black, and you're gay. Like you have, you know what I mean? Like you have every minority stance is against you, right?
yeah,
Even if you are that stance and you are an American, you still have privilege over someone who's born in middle of note with nothing,
yeah,
no
like,
no access to water. Now
like,
that does not
like,
mean that your suffering does not still exist. But what that does mean is that you can look at the situation that you have and be like, well, I've been given these things, I've been put in a place where I have access to this, but I don't have this. Being able to acknowledge I have this, and what can be worked on now. Being thankful for what you do have, being able to build off of that. Like here's an example. I don't know if I'll leave this in or not, but I remember seeing, I think in Kansas, there was this court case where some anti-vaxxers were, and I'm just talking about anti-vaxxers because they're low-hanging fruit. But like I look at that, and like when they went to that court recently, where they had like the Star of David's on their chest, like this is like the Holocaust, and they're forcing us to wear masks and have us wear and to get vaccines. Like no, like that is a complete disregard to me of the privileges that you have. How dare you compare the Holocaust to being forced to wear a mask in a Walmart? You
yeah,
know what I'm? That's like that. This is
definitely.
a. I don't think it's the. That's a good example. Like to kind of relate it to that, but there's some level of like first world privilege that seeps through that's frustrating. Like to be able to be in a situation where you have access to a free vaccine which the American healthcare system is already fucked up. But to be at least to be in a position now, that's a whole nother conversation. But to be in the position where you have access to something that millions of people don't have, and to be say that it's like that, it's a complete neglect of the privilege to me. Like that's something that I don't care. Like if you're complaining about that to that degree, I think there's a problem. Like that needs some self evaluation on your part. But is does the can you still have the opinion and complain? Yes, but to put it on that level, like I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like we need to realize like the things that we do have versus things that we versus things that we don't have. Like honestly,
Because let's be real, liberal white Americans are entitled as fuck.
yeah,
They've been
honestly,
what they
even
complain about on Twitter should not be complained about.
even just being American, I mean, as bad as it seems, I think that we also have to realize that there are some places that are just obviously worse than America. We it may not seem like much, but we do live in a country where we at least have the option to choose who we want to become our president. But then you have some places like North Korea where literally there's a one party system. You don't have that. You don't have that option. You don't
There
have
is no
access.
options. Like
Yeah, exactly. You don't have access to the internet. You don't have access to the outside. Like it's like in North Korea. It's a dictatorship. You have to sleep. You have to go to sleep at a certain time. So even just living in America, as bad as it may be, I think also just realizing that and just being thankful for the things that we do have. It may be rough. We may it may be rough. We may have it hard, but then at the same time we're not living in conditions that are like India or like North Korea. So we're not living in those conditions. It doesn't mean that we're not also going through our own things, but also we need to realize like, hey, we do have we do have certain things that other people don't have. Sure, our parents may have to go through and suffer more than we had to go through. I feel like there's two ways to look at that. One, I'm glad that I don't have to go through this. I'm glad that my parents made the sacrifice so then, I have a better life and I don't have to suffer through that. But then at the same time, that does not mean that my problems should be dismissed.
and
So
I think
I
sorry.
feel like we should just definitely look at the positives and the negatives to everything, because in any situation, every problem there's a positive and a negative to everything. Because as rough as it may be being black in America, honestly, honestly, I feel like I can say this: I would rather be black in America than being black in North Korea.
Or like and I think that's how we should look at mental health, or just
Yeah.
with everything that's going on. If you're listening to this, then you're 9 times out of 10 probably in a first world country with access to things that other people don't have. Which doesn't mean that you should feel guilty. I want to make that very clear. Do not feel guilty because you have, or I don't think you should feel guilty because you have privileges over other people. Which I think to some degree, wherever you are, you have privileges over other people. But that doesn't mean you should feel guilty for it. You should just acknowledge the privilege that you have, and then do what you can to level the playing field.
Yeah, with Thanksgiving coming up, I guess you would say this: be thankful for the things that you have, but then also
Yes.
understand the thing. Be aware. Be aware of your own mental health. And don't let other people's negativity brush your mental health aside. Mental health is very important, and do what you need to do to fight it. And if other people don't understand it, I think the one thing I would say is that you have support. At times, like even for myself, at times myself, I may see I'd be like, oh, I have no one to talk to. I have no one. But then at the same time, I also have to realize, I have friends. I have family who, they may not understand what I'm going through, but they can at least, provide me with with just make me smile. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even if they can't actually help what I'm going through, actually make me feel better. But at least just talking to you or some of my other friends, at least y'all can make me smile, and honestly, that can make my entire day better. So I feel like there's always support out there, and don't be afraid to reach out for support. Just don't be afraid to reach out for support for whatever you're going through.
Yeah, I think it's a great to just idle in that. Be thankful for what you have, and they be content. May not yeah. I don't maybe not content, but I do think for all things good that you have, be thankful for, and for everything that's bad, it's okay. It comes in waves and it goes. We're
Yeah.
giving thanks this year, and I think the few things, especially now, the few things that you do have something to be thankful for that you should hold on. That I know when I look at myself, I think it's good to hold on to those things. Fiel, it's
So
Fiel.
what?
It's good to have you back on the podcast, man. After hearing what happened to you, with you this past weekend, I'm thankful, friend to friend. I love you, man. I'm glad you're here. you know,
Yeah.
kicking it again. Um,
Honestly, I'm just thankful just to be alive, dude. Like, we take life for granted. A lot of times we take life for granted, and it's not until we reach that position where you realize that your life can be over in an instinct that you finally realize, like, oh man, I'm grateful to be alive. I truly am. I'm grateful just to be alive. I'm grateful to have friends, loving family. I'm grateful, for all these things. I definitely am suffering through things of my own. I definitely have my own demons that I'm fighting, but then at the same time, I am truly grateful that I have support, and I am grateful that I have a loving family. I'm grateful, that I have you to talk to, and to whenever I need to. I'm grateful, just to be alive. Period. Because man, there's an instinct where just a few days ago where I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm just grateful just to be alive.
mm, and it's good. I'm glad to have you on here. I'm glad,
That's
um, again with friends, and I also want to hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving. Um, Fiel, we're gonna take a leave following Thanksgiving. We're gonna let
yeah.
everyone spend time and give thanks to their families, and I'm gonna be giving thanks to my family. So I'm not gonna do anything. I'm relaxing. I got no school, bro. It's gonna be chill.
Chillax. I'm chilling. Hey, you say I got homework today? Not today. I'm not doing nothing. Well, you do that swim practice. Not today. I'm getting fat on turkey.
um,
We'll get ready to come back to swimming. We'll get ready for this turkey to get it up.
shit.
Also,
Yes.
you like turkey? You're a menace to society. Who likes turkey? It's dry.
Um. uh, Theo, I
Yes.
don't agree with you, but I'm gonna let you be great. We hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving. Um, we hope good to be back. Glad to be back recording the podcast. Thankful for everyone who's listening. Hope everyone has a good, blessed Thanksgiving weekend. Phil, is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thanks for tuning in.